No dating, no sex, marriage, no children. What? To answer that question, you have to look back and go, how did we get here? How did we get to this space where women are making this choice? And the way I see it, we only have a couple of different options. Women are responsible for the population rates dropping. Guys, welcome back. In today's video, I want to do a slightly different video, but I want to react to 4B movement. I don't know if you've heard of it because I hadn't heard of it until actually quite recently, but now it's like everywhere I look. Movement which started in South Korea. I really don't know the specifics of when, but I think it's been a hot minute. And so all 4 words start with BI, so bi. I don't speak Korean. I'm not going to insult their language by trying to pronounce these things. Basically, you are subscribing to a life that you have no relationships with men, where you do not date. So all of this would be heterosexual, right? Relationships. So a man and a woman dating, having children, no heterosexual schmecks, and no marriage. That's a lot. And yeah, I do have some feelings about that. So I wanted to talk about them. I wanted to see how y'all feel about them. So if you're new to this channel, I was married, am divorced, and I have 2 children. I have a 14-year-old daughter and a 13-year-old son. My son cannot wait to grow up, get married, have a family, be a father. He has always been that way his whole life. He's wanted that for himself. And I think that is beautiful. My daughter, on the other hand, has 0 desire to have children or be married. She said, I want to have a partner in life. She wants to be with one person, she said, hopefully for the rest of her life, but she doesn't see the value in marriage or having children. Children are the sum total of all of their life experiences, plus however they just arrived on this earth, however they're just naturally wired. So let's talk about this. There's no shortage of videos about that topic. I mean, apparently it's an ideological construct for them as well as a lifestyle, and that includes that they even push out of their lives their male friends and family members, which for me is a little too far. Let's talk about my reactions to this as a parent and divorced single woman over 40. And I have 4 options, 4 paths that I think that women can take. So I'm gonna come back to that in a second. But I just wanted to touch on how I personally feel about this, okay? I don't understand all of this red pill, men hating women, women hating on men, blah, blah. I don't get all that, okay? I don't hate men. I don't. I know some really, really wonderful men. And I also know some real shitheads. I mean, I do. Everybody does. That could also be said for women. My life experiences with men have not been ideal, all the way back to my father, and including my ex-husband. And unfortunately, my children have seen those relationships up close and in person. And as you can see, one of them still wants a family and the other one wants nothing to do with it. So how do I feel about that? I'm a single mom over 40. So I'm living this lifestyle, not necessarily because it is my choice, but because I feel that it keeps the most peace and stability in my home. I do not have relationships with men, not having anybody else's children, and I will never ever get married again for a million reasons, which I have discussed in my former videos. For me personally, I think I accidentally am living this lifestyle, and I will say, for me, it has been the most peaceful season of my life. I can say that because I have the vantage point of already having children, so I can say that. But I don't know that I would have foregone having children. For me personally, I don't have a problem with this construct because it fits my current season of life. But when the kids are gone to college and life is a little less like this, I'm sure that I will start dating men again. I'll never marry one, but I'm sure that I will start dating again. So for me, this concept is a no. But it should also be said, I don't hate men. So I don't know. I mean, am I a feminist? To the extent that I believe that we are so different, that equality amongst those level of differences, it feels insurmountable, it feels impossible to me. I support women doing whatever the hell they want to do with their lives. If you want to be single and not have kids and pursue a career, knock yourself out. If you want to get married and roll the dice and have kids, knock yourself out. Truth be told, you only have one life. So do whatever the hell you want to do with it. I mean, that's not for me to say, that's for you to say. That's how I feel about it personally. Now, as a mother of a daughter who does not want those things for herself, I have to tell you, it actually makes me feel somewhat relieved. And I hate to say that because I don't think that marriage is a dead construct and I don't think that all men are bad, but I think that what she has seen in her own life has shown her, you better take care of you first And I'm gonna circle back to that in my 4 options here in a second. And if the partnership works out, that's great. And if it doesn't, you're gonna be on your own. So you better watch, you better CYA, right? Cover your ass. And so I think as a result of that, she has decided, I just don't want to partake in any of that. But she's 14. She may change her mind and she may not. And I have raised her to understand, if you want to do that with your life, have no children and just have a career, do that. Because like we watched this show Grey's Anatomy, and she would see all the doctors on there coming home at dropping their kids off at 6 in the morning and not picking them up till 7 o'clock at night, 6, 7 o'clock at night, basically spending 0 time with their children. And she would say, that feels neglectful to me. Like, you can either have that level of a career, and I should mention she wants to be a neurosurgeon, that level of career where you don't have to run home to somebody else, or you can be a parent. You can't do both. And I think she's right. I think this, oh, women can have it all, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I think there's some truth to that. There's also a very dark truth surrounding that, which, you know, maybe for another video. I do not subscribe to that. Women do have to choose, period, full stop. I don't care. You can say you're a boss, babe, you're handling everything yourself, okay, whatever. It's still not as black and white as that. Your commitments are still torn between professional and personal. They just are. But why do I feel safer with her feeling that way? Because I feel like if she can stay focused on her studies and have something for herself. And she even said, you know, even if in the future I would change my mind and blah, 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 I'm not coming out of the workforce. I'm not doing that. And I respect that decision. And I think she's right. So let's talk about the 4 options that I see for women. Why are women choosing this for themselves? Well, let's see. Intimate partner violence, number statistically, which is uncomfortable. I think a lot of women want to avoid that. A lot of women want to avoid being traded in, you know, when they turn 40 for the 20-year-old. It's real life. That happens. And a lot of women don't want to have to choose between children or career. So what I have explained to my daughter, these are your options as I see them. 4 options. And this goes for all women. I think you guys let me know what you think. Option number 1, you can wait a really long time to get married. So I'm talking like you're maybe in your early 30s. Have your own career. And if you choose to have children, don't leave the workforce. That way, if the partnership doesn't work out, you still have a career and you will still be able to provide for your children. Be no stay-at-home moms. I know, that's gonna ruffle some feathers. Guys, there's 3 more options, relax. Option 2, you could get married very, very young, right? 18, have your children, and then they're out of the house by the time you're 38. Well, why do I say this? Because, and guys, if you want to get mad, but if y'all would stop doing it, we would stop talking about it, okay? A man is going to trade a woman in because she turns 40. Well, then the best way to protect yourself is you can't not turn 40, so you got to protect yourself. So let's assume that you could have, you know, 18 to 38 where you would still be valuable to him because you're under 40. Your kids are gone at 38. So this would be my advice to you. Option 2, if you want to be a stay-at-home mom, get married when you're 18. Forget college, forget all that crap, okay? Get married when you're 18, have your family, raise your family. But while your kids are in middle school and high school, go back and get a college degree and an advanced degree if possible, and start part-time working somewhere or start your own business before they are out of the house. Because you know, as they get a little bit older, they require a little bit less from you. That way, if your partner decides, oh, you had an expiration date and it was 40, well, then by the time you're 38, the kids are gone. They've been gone. When they turn 18, they go to college. You have a career, you have something for yourself, you have a degree to fall back on. You can re-enter the workforce if he decides to leave. And better than that, if he does decide to leave, your kids are already out of the house. So you're not suddenly a single mom with 2 toddlers. So that's option number 2. And again, I'm like dying to hear y'all's opinion on this, okay? So let me know what you think. Option number 3, don't get married, don't have children. Or get married and don't have children. The problem with that is that, of course, the population decreases. And I'll circle back to that in 1 second. You know, are women responsible for the population decrease? You can just get married and have no children. That way, if the marriage doesn't work out, well, then if you were married, you didn't have children, you probably continued working, you're gonna be okay. And option number 4. And this is for all the men out there that have probably got their ass on their shoulders because they're so upset, like, I'm painting this ugly picture about men. No, I'm not. The divorce rate is, I think, north of 50%. You know, I know a lot of people say, oh, the divorce rate is going down. Well, yeah, the divorce rate is going down, but because the marriage rate is also going down. Fewer marriages equals fewer divorces. Also, fewer divorces during hard economic times, which it has been now for several years. So take those statistics with a bucket or two of salt. So option 4, if a woman decides that she is going to get married and have children, let's say that she is an educated woman, she went to college and she left the workforce. So this is contrast to option 2, which is you didn't go to college, you just started a family. All right. So let's say you went to college, you have a career, you left the workforce to stay at home with your children, which is something that I love and respect and have been so grateful to be at home with my children, to work from home. I genuinely believe that a woman who chooses to leave the workforce should get a percentage of her husband's salary every year stuck into some kind of like a bank account, blah, 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 as insurance. Because let's call it a divorce penalty. Let's say 14 years in, he finds his secretary just too damn irresistible. She's like that bag of Cheetos. You just gotta have it. I promised to this woman who derailed her career to have your family. And that's great. You can run off with the secretary, but you're gonna give her that 14 years of divorce insurance that you've been paying into this account as a divorce penalty for not keeping your word to be there to help her to raise the children and to be a part of that marriage. Now, I know, I can already hear the men's buttholes puckering. You know, I get it. And if I were a man, I probably would feel the same way. But here's the thing. If you are a man who asks your wife to come out of the workforce to raise your children, you should be earning enough money that you should be able to do that. And here's the bonus. If you don't act a fool and walk out on your family, then you both have that money for the rest of your life. You know, when the kids go away to college and you two ride off into the sunset together, you know, you buy a boat or an RV or you travel around the world. There's no negative. I'm sure that men will say, oh, well, she's already getting a percentage of her salary because she's staying home and she's not working. But she is working. She just isn't being paid. She is on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every day of the year, no breaks, no promotions, no retirement account, nothing. When a woman chooses to stay at home with her children and support a man's career, she is 100% absorbing the risk. And that is not smart. I'm sorry, that is not a smart decision. Now, I know that there are a percentage of people who get lucky and dodge that bullet, who stay happily married. And for those people, God love you. You are the basis of all Hallmark movies. And I hope that my son has that marriage, okay? But for the rest of the people, that's just not the reality. And, you know, we can't operate based on shoulda, woulda, coulda. We have to operate based on the statistical information available to us, which says that this happens at least 50% of the time. Not men running off with younger women, but that happens. But the marriage breaking up for whatever the reason. Now, of course, I should also say that the divorce penalty, if the woman is the one, you know, doing things that causes the divorce, especially cheating, well, guess what? You get nothing. And I know I've heard other men say like, oh, you know, there is divorce insurance. That's called a prenup. Well, no, that's not divorce insurance. That's divorce insurance for the man, who's usually the one with the assets, not always, but the one with the assets coming into the marriage. That means that she doesn't get to take anything you didn't have when you two married. But what about all the stuff that you build together? So, I mean, it's divorce insurance, yeah, for a man, but not for a woman. So since I'm talking of the 4B movement is for women, look at this from an intellectual standpoint and remove as much emotion as is possible from a complicated situation. We circle back. Are women responsible for the decline of the population? Well, I'll leave the comment section open to you guys. Yes and no. I mean, let's see. Women are the ones with uteruses. Women are the ones capable of producing new life. If women decide that we have been pressed or whatever, guys, insert 75 different words here, okay, mistreated, whatever, and they decide we're not going to do that anymore. Having children is a huge undertaking. We're being screwed over. We're being taken advantage of. And no, thank you. We don't want to do that anymore. Population rates fall as a result of more women saying, no, I want to have my own career and I don't want to have children. Are we responsible? I mean, I don't know, because I think in order to answer that question, you have to look back and go, how did we get here? How did we get to this space where women are making this choice? And, you know, I know that we have this whole like trad white resurgence where people are glamorizing staying at home and, you know, wearing pretty dresses and makeup and all that. Okay, whatever. And guys, look, If I thought that there was a world where that existed, where a man would take care of his wife and family, be loyal, be kind, and support her the way that she supports him, great. And I think that's probably true for maybe 20% of the population. Sadly, that's 20%. That leaves 80% of the rest of the population out there trying to figure out what to do. And I think if women were better protected, insert option 4 of what we were talking about here, more of them would choose to have children because they would know that it was not them assuming 100% of the risk. And I think until you address that risk factor, you'd have population rate problems. That's my opinion. Now, I can't speak to the whole overall 4B movement where they just don't want anything to do with men at all, because to me, that's crazy. Some of my very closest friends are men and I adore them. But I can't sit here and say that I don't understand the premise of the movement, because I do. It's not for me. I mean, not really, not outside of it being seasonally appropriate to where I'm at in life right now. But I don't know. What do you guys think? I had to talk about this today because it is on my For You page. It is in every feed for every platform that I'm on. It's like boom, boom, boom. It's coming at me. So I wanted to discuss it, react to it, get your opinions about it, and try to leave some options, and then again, see what people think. So sorry to all the red pill bros out there. If you're upset by me having an opinion, well, then you're probably part of the problem. All the men out there who heard this in the manner in which it was filmed, which is just an intelligent conversation with as much emotion removed as possible, a discussion of the actual challenge at hand, thank you. I give advice about divorce, single parenting, and choosing to live single, then leave me a like and a comment down below, subscribe. Welcome to the Single Squad, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.